upon time, but we are live on 75W Radio, live on Umma Connected, on YouTube, on Zoom, and on Facebook. Tonight, we talk about the dilemma of determining the career path. What sort of course should you be doing? Are you doing the course that you wanted to do, or you are doing a course that your parents wanted you to do? Are you in the middle of doing a course and you are beginning to doubt whether that's exactly what you wanted? Is there a way around that you could be able to change your mind just before it's too late? Have you done a course and, at the end of it, realized you get into the marketplace and there's no place for that course, however good it sounded to your ears? Some beautiful names out there, but which are difficult to come by. You will see that going to university, many people will have chosen a sort of a course. If someone, for example, went to Makerere, one of the courses that they used to laugh at you if you went to Makerere University, for those who went to Uganda, at Makerere in Uganda, was MDD. In fact, it was music, dance, and drama, but quite often said Musiru Dara Dara. It was felt like a failure. It was like, close to a flat course. And yet, come to completion of the courses, and the first people to get jobs, in fact, while still at uni, would be a lot of these MDD products. The drama was a big thing. Theater is a big thing in Uganda, and these people could get jobs. Now, coming into the current world where we are at, a lot of it even has to do now with, the trends. Musicians, for example, YouTubers, people who have ended up, living careers now to become YouTubers, and that becomes a new sort of career path. Tonight, I would like for us in our discussion tonight, our discussions are never just about nothing. They always have a meaning. And the idea is, once you've had into the conversation tonight, you should be able to live with probably a sort of a slightly clearer path of where you want to be or to go. As a parent, for example, it might be that you are in the middle of a confusion. These were the traditional courses that really sort of stood out within society. Today, the story is slightly different. New areas have come up, emerging areas, emerging courses that have actually brought the whole focus of education now probably to have to be rethought. There has to be a rethinking of education in general, just resulting from that. So tonight, I'd like us to sort of explore into these areas, sometimes using our own personal experiences. Going to university, my dream was either to become a lawyer or a journalist. I got more points than what journalism required, but I got less points than what law could give. In the middle of that, in the middle of the confusion, I ended up I got offered education, which was a professional course with a specialization in history and economics, areas that I loved very much. I went to uni, but in my heart, journalism was still lying quite high. Law was still at the back of my mind. I went to uni. While I was still at university, all my interests turned to a lot of journalism. I ended up becoming a minister of information at university. And when I left, I only taught almost as far as teaching practice was. Beyond that, I started my journalism career, where I've been for nearly coming to 30 years now. So ultimately, looking back and sort of thinking about that first degree in education, yes, it does help, because as a teacher, you get the skills. These skills become instrumental in helping you to sort of, carve a way out. You find that in your ability to communicate with people, the teaching aspects come in quite handy. But beyond that, would you say you are actually doing education? Are you teaching the history? Are you teaching the economics? No. Many people now get along that. People have come into this country. You left Uganda with your degree in social work and social administration. You get here and it's a different world altogether. People have had to go back and start like we've never started. You cross into nursing or medicine. The differences in these countries, it becomes very easy. Medicine was made to look so difficult back home. And you come here and you look at medicine, and it's a doable course. I've seen people do the courses and you wonder, this person always was daft in class, and here they are seemingly doing very, very well in a course that looked actually impossible for them to have done back home. So probably the discussion then would be the kind of discussion that you have. As a parent, probably you've got a child who is ready to go to university. You want them to do a particular course. They want to do a particular course. How do we find a middle ground that would allow the two of you to be able to enjoy the outcome of what has happened? Given what has happened now, some of us have had to retrain. You go into a totally different field. You use the knowledge that you acquired in the first instance, because once you have a degree, that is a stepping stone. But beyond that, then you start having to deal with the realities out. I would like to hear your own personal experiences. What has been your story? How has it been? Are you actually practicing what you studied, or you totally derailed? Are you feeling angry? Did you end up doing a course because your father wanted you or forced you, your mother wanted you to do the course, and it's not something that you felt inside yourself? Or it is something that you actually wanted and you found yourself there? I would like us to discuss that tonight, inshallah. And just to remind you, in the chat room, if you have any comments, you can always flag them, and my eye is as keen as possible to see what you say in the chat room. Alternatively, you can just raise your hand and we will come to you. Of course, now, I say this for those who just joined us late, the basis for this conversation is today. I spent much of today at Durham University, but earlier in the day, I had been at Gateshead College, where I met a student who had just been, well, given a chance at Loughborough University, where he's going to be doing architecture. And he was over the moon with happiness. He just called his mom when I picked him up, and he was just excited. And then we ended up having a conversation around architecture. And he couldn't believe that I knew so much about architecture without even being an architecture student. It's just using basic knowledge. But I think it's about the appreciation of things, that you can see something and you see value in it and you take interest. At least you have a little bit of knowledge about something. And that actually, sort of set up a very interesting conversation. And I forget, during the course of today, I had a very interesting conversation with a Jewish PhD student I met at Durham University as well. She's been doing very interesting research. Her PhD thesis was about FGM, not FMG, FGM, female genital mutilation, but in the context trying to compare that with Islamic circumcision. So it was interesting. One, she's Jewish, yes, but then having taken the interest now to try to dig deep to see, because she says, according to the text that she has found, there is room that Islam allows FGM. And so our conversation started from there, talking just about this, and then asking why it is okay. Now, science has come in to say it is good on one hand for men to be circumcised. It improves their health, but also improves their well-being. And then for women, when FGM is carried out, which is almost the reverse of circumcision, the impact on women is a negative impact. It sort of takes it to a different side. And it was very interesting, because when she came, she was just talking to just an ordinary person. And we end up into a philosophical world where ayahs of the Quran, end up coming to the fore. And we are having a conversation, in-depth conversation, just around that. And ultimately, I mean, she was saying she's almost completing her thesis, but following the conversation that we had, she was going definitely to change quite a number of things following up on the conversation. So tonight, let me not bore you about me. It's about you and the stories that we need to be sharing. And we are talking about career paths. How did you determine your own course? What are you deciding? Are you one of those that have chosen to take your children and push them to do a particular course that you actually like or want? Ajat Sarah, allow me just to hijack you. I'll come to you simply because I know you have children and you have had a hand in what they've ended up doing. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum salam wa barakatuh. So I still have something distracting me.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I'll come back into the program.
No problem at all. Okay, no worries, no worries. Much appreciated. Hasfa, I come to you now because simply, and you know why I'm coming to you. You have a daughter, who should be university ready. And I'm just wondering what sort of conversations you've had building up to this. Asfa, assalamu alaikum, are you there? Or are you also distracted? Asfa Gaswija, are you there? Okay, I'll keep moving. Oh, I'll come to UMC, Shafiq. Yes. Hello, Shafiq. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hello, Shafiq. Are you there? All our things not working tonight, or at least Shafiq, are you there? Right, I've got two Catherines here. I don't know if it was one Catherine which didn't work, and then we logged in with another with another. Bianisa, I come to you just to get us started. I mean, I'm sure you've been hearing my own blabbering about the conversations I had today and about, well, going to uni and determining the courses. Hi, Anisa. Hello, Anisa. Oh, subhanallah. Not having any luck at all. Let me go to Catherine. Hello, Catherine. Hello, Catherine Sally. Are my connections all right, or am I having issues here? Okay, I'll go to UMC Manchester. I think that should be Mchara Ziada. Hajat Ziada, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
If you didn't respond, I would just die now. I would imagine whether my microphone has a problem.
I think it's working.
It is working. Barakallahu fikum. Welcome and thank you very much for joining us tonight at very short notice as well. How are you and how is Manchester?
Alhamdulillah, we are all good.
I mean, I've just seen a death message here of a sister there. Did you know them?
No, which one?
There's a message that has just been shared on UMC of a sister who's just died and plans are being made to send them. She is Khadija Sharif. She's from Tanzania. Bi Khadija Sharif Noor.
Oh.
Yes.
Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un.
Ziada, it's good to have you into the night's conversation. We are talking about career paths and the decisions that we make in our careers. I'll start first of all with you because I'm speaking to you in almost three different capacities. First one, you are a graduate and therefore you've gone through your own courses. It will be interesting just to hear that particular bit of the journey. But also importantly, you've been an advisor helping people to NK says today I forgot to send the link. I think it wasn't. Subhanallah, my sincere apologies. I did send it, but probably not to all the groups. But we've shared it. I shared it actually quite extensively. Yes, Biziada, I was saying that in your capacity, what you have done is you've helped many parents get their children or determine the courses that they would end up doing. And therefore, that is another capacity that we'll be speaking to you about. But you're also a community leader who has helped at least to mobilize people and give people a sense of, a sense of direction. So let's start from your own experience. You are a graduate. You decide what course you wanted, or Mzee was seriously over your neck determining what you had to study?
Thank you very much, Kayira. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
Yes, in my capacity as a graduate, I have got 2 degrees.
Right.
I've got a bachelor's degree and I've got a master's degree. Back in the ages in Uganda, I completed my senior 6 from Uganda, whereby I come from this family that takes education to be religion to be first priority and education to be number 2. So my dad, may Allah bless him, he passed on. Yeah, he was very, very strict Haji Rutale. I think everyone who passed through the Muslim schools, they knew him and how strict he was with education. So, but the good thing was he could not determine for us what you need to take. All what he emphasized on was Modino Soma. You've got to study, whether you like it or not, and you've got to pass.
So what sort of conversation then would you have regarding the courses that you wanted? Would he advise, or would he just ask you whether you wanted to join a particular course?
He used to advise us
Mm-hmm.
and go through. He used to meet with us every holidays, beginning and end of holidays, like to have that thorough talk. And all through his life, he used to talk, whether he's walking, whether he's doing anything, he would be like, Muino kusoma njagala mubere bwe muti. It used to be his language all the time on his tongue. Muino kusoma njagala mubere bwe muti, bye muina sibya, bye nina sibya mwe. Whatever belongs to me doesn't belong to you. All I have is for my wives and myself. What I have in life for you is education. That's what he used to say. So we knew it, that the only way to survive was to have education in life. So he put that in our heads, and we were like, okay, we have got to study. He's got nothing for us. The only thing I have for you is school fees. That's it. Nothing else. Wherever you want to go, how many degrees you want to attain, I'll pay for them as long as you are in school. And alhamdulillah, he managed to put through all of us in school. So it was kind of like him being on our backs. But then the courses we used to have, as in like you deciding which course to get, it used to come from your results. Like he could push whatever he could push. He could go to the schools, the teachers and everything to make sure that you're working very hard. So the results you get could determine the courses you're going to have. Right. So that's how I went on to have a course that I did.
And what did you do in your bachelor's?
In my bachelor's, after my senior six from Gombe Senior Secondary School, I joined India. I went to India and I did Bachelor's of Arts in Banking and Economics.
Right.
And general English was compulsory. So I did Banking and Economics. And then after that, I went back to Uganda. I was working in a bank and stuff like that. And then I joined the UK and I did my Master's of Science in Project Management from Manchester.
You did your master's in conflict management.
Project management.
Oh, project management. Well, actually, no, that you are not doing really bad. You are not doing badly, because you studied banking and then you ended up in bank. I should assume it was Greenland Bank.
No. It was Stanbic Bank at that time. The time I completed my university, my first degree, Greenland Bank had closed.
It was already dead.
Okay. Yeah, it was already dead. So when I came back, I started in a microfinance, in capital finance, and then my dad managed to get me from in Stanbic Bank. So I ended up in Stanbic Bank, but then I was like, no, I've got to push further. But the first degree was determined from the results I had got in my high school, as in like senior six. And then the second degree, I was like, I consulted from my seniors. I've got senior brothers who were giving guidance. I consulted from them and I wanted something. I wasn't so good in things like maths and sciences and stuff like that, but I was good in things of, I love writing, I love research and stuff like that. So I was like, I need something whereby even when I leave UK and I go anywhere in the world, it will be on market, it will be selling.
You're still relevant, yes.
Yeah, I'm still relevant. And I had my senior brothers and they advised me to do project management, because wherever you go, you find projects and stuff like that.
No, that's very lucky, Ziada, hearing, your kind of experience from first degree to second degree. There's a direct connection, and even where you've ended up working, you are actually still sort of in that line, and not many people are lucky with that. Now, you've taken on a responsibility within Manchester And kudos to that. Congratulations on a very good effort that you have been making within Manchester, within the community, advising parents on, on career paths for their children. Let's talk about that, because I think it feeds very well into tonight's conversation. How do parents approach you? Do you come, do you stand and say, come and I would help you? Or is it people who knew you and they just would, approach you? How does it start if someone, is looking for career guidance and Ziada's help in that?
Yeah, it's two-way. It's both of them. Some parents are like, yes, Omwana, maybe my child has got it comes from down, whereby I've got children whose parents are like, they have problems in school and stuff like that. Then they consult you and they be like, it's A, B, C, D. The school is saying this, what can I do? Where can I go from here? What can my child do? And then you are like, okay, I'll do this, I'll do this, I'll do this for them. And then another thing is that, like, for example, we had a party in Liverpool. I've got one of my friends, she contested for Miss Uganda UK, and she was, and she went through. So we did 2 weeks ago, I think so, we did a Thanksgiving party in Liverpool. So in all that race, we have had parents, we had people, children who have really been there for us in terms of voting, in terms of money. Someone is phoning you, Ziada, you've helped my children, Ziada, you've done A, B, C, D for me. I know you are running this for this girl. How can I help? Is there anything I could come up with? Do you need any support and things like that? So when I was giving my speech, I told them, yes, I know the people who have come, their family, because if in UK here, you find that everyone you meet in the community, we are all family. We are all one people. That's how I take it to be. So I told them, yes, I do A, B, C, D, and Z. I help in these situations. I help children in doing dissertations, assignments, and CVs, and anything to do with career guidance. And if you ever need any support, my services are free. So in that situation, I said it because of the community we had around. We were all, from one family. I knew all the families and stuff. And some people were like, they have got children, they need our support, but they didn't know where to get the support from. So in such situations, I could tell them, because people
now, Ziada, when it comes to the particular choice of courses, because now there's quite a wide variety of courses, the people are almost spoiled for choice when it comes to like a country like this. I was actually surprised. Went through like a college that is nearby here, Gateshead College, and the kind of courses that are there, I was actually shocked that this is not university, this is still the college. But the kind of course structures that you see there, the number of courses that are there are just unbelievable, but you cannot know until you've gone in and dug deep to just find out. So when it comes to the advice on courses, are the parents who have approached you still keen on the traditional courses? And when I'm saying traditional, I'm just using where we grew up, because it was about lawyers, it was about engineers, it was about doctors. Is that still the case, or you find that now there has been sort of a move away from that?
Some of the parents are still in that line, but others are in the line of nursing and medical and stuff like that. So it's kind of like there's so many courses around, everything. And when they give you career guidance in schools, colleges, universities, because I've attended some universities sessions on career guidance, they kind of like something like that.
Yes.
So a child would come in and they are like, they don't know what they want. They do not know where to go. Some of them, they just go because my friend akola chino na chino. Aina mukwano gwe mu ssomero, not forgetting nti ogwo mukwano gugenda kukomaawo. After college, after this, that's going to be the end of the story.
Everyone goes their separate ways.
Everyone goes their own way. So others are getting guidance from their parents, but they are like hard. they insist and they're like, because I've got so many situations where parents have come to me and they're like, no, omwana aganye ziyada, nyambo yogereko naye. Tumugamba kola kino na kino, and I mean, ye mwenyini agamba nja kukola kino na kino. So, no mubuza n'agamba, because mukwano gwange kyagenda okukola, because kyenjagala, no mugamba kati after here. I mean, where are you going? What are you thinking? Because someone comes and they're like, yeah, I'm not saying entrepreneurship is bad, but someone is like, ngenda kola marketing and entrepreneurship for degree. Yes, I'm not discriminating anyone, but look, you are a Black person, a child. We live in the country where we live. You know what it is. Your parents don't have money, because such kind of courses, it needs omuzadenga inam some investment.
Yes.
N'agamba ngenda kutandikira omwana ekintu bwe kiti ne bwe kiti. So I normally advise such people, such children, to do courses zomanyi nti nganze because of my results. First of all, I tell them you need to work very, very hard. No funa degree, you'll get it good. If so, I advise parents, omwana bw'aba amaze straight away, nga mind ekyali fresh. Masters is only 1 year. Bwe twatandise wano mu September next year obeera omaze. But it is for the whole of your life. I mean, you're going places just for an addition of another year. So if a child has done a course of 3 years, straight away move to the next level. Omwana afuna admissions in amala third year. Akole masters just for 1 year. Actually, it's not even a year, because by July next year, you start September. By July, you have completed. Omwana agenda okutuuka September nga anoonya mirimu. Wherever you put
Ziada, I can see two hands up. And actually, because now tonight, given the kind of expertise and that you're sharing, Njakuba bleeding out of you and back to you, so that we can sort of get people picking in. But my question before I just allow Justin and then Issa to come in, probably they might have questions that you might be able to respond to or share into the conversation. My question is, the now issue there when it comes to doing masters straight away off the back of finishing your degree. Masters quite often comes with experience. You want a person to have experienced something. I've seen people who have gone, they've done the masters. Yes, they have the papers. They are very, very, green when it comes to the realities of what is out in the particular fields. I would therefore not be amongst those that would ascribe so quickly to rushing to masters. I see your point when it comes to the money aspect and going places, but would it be good for someone to at least start to sort of get grounded, in the realities of the work environment before they rush to doing a master's?
The issue is here. Why I normally advise that way. Number one is, everywhere you go in this country, you need experience. So don't expect, most of them, normally the nursing sector, they normally go work in hospitals and stuff like that. But when it comes to our degrees, I mean, this side of law, project management, and other courses, you're not going to enter into my office and you come fresh from the university and you think you become a project manager straight away. Ogenda kufuka admini and stuff like that. Some of them, they are going to send their CVs without experience. And then, I mean, I've had some children coming here to my house. Omwana Nandaganga, he has sent 210 applications. Nenga tafunanga response. I mean, afuna response with the reject. Some of them, they don't even bother to reply. So they end up going back to these jobs ku university, McDonald's and KFC and stuff like that.
Uber Eats and deliveries.
Yeah, so to me, wasting that year doing all that, omwana omuteka lumu mu ssomero na pushing through. Another thing is, when you look at it, abaana bano bw'abeera nga agenze with the first degree n'afunayo a certain job of pound 1,500, 1,200, because those are the jobs they bagenda okutandikirako.
Yes.
They will think, yes, nchikubi ekiwedde. Tojja mujja ku mirimu egyo, agenda akole masters. I'm not saying masters is a must, but to me, the way I have looked at the professional sector and the jobs and stuff like that, I look at things to be like it is a push, because I have attended interviews in Bandeku selection. Masters, I mean, it catches their eye. Nagamba, this is it. Yeah, some courses, they don't have to do masters, but it depends, because someone was asking here, there is a question about security.
That's what I was going to flag.
Yeah.
I didn't want to interrupt you. So
yeah, some of the courses, you look at them. This is why I gave example of nursing. Straight away, someone abera funye training from the hospital, they have done placements and stuff like that. They have gone through with it. So after that, they will straight away go to their hospitals and work. So same with security, people are going to go to get their security cards. They have done trainings and stuff like that. So they'll have their jobs. But this masters comes in jobs like my sector, my field, and anything to do with business, school of business, business management, human resource management, and things like that. In that situation, I would advise someone to push over.
All right, Ziada, I'll just ask you to hold on just a little bit. Let me bring in Justin and then go to Issa, but stay there because I think we are going to be tapping back and forth into your expertise. Haji here in the chat room says, let's speak the truth. If you're asking about a career path in the UK or with a mindset focused on staying and working in the UK, then there is a huge difference with a career plan or path based on a future that will be executed in Africa. And UMC, I think that was Shafiq saying, do you have experience with nursing? You have made reference to it a few times. Well, we'll come to that, Shafiq, in response to that. And Hajj, I can see your hand is up. Justin, to you, I come. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you, brother?
Alhamdulillah. How are you?
Good.
How's your week been so
topic.
far?
MashaAllah, not too bad.
I mean,
and you?
Alhamdulillah. Yes, career paths. Your take.
Just a quick one. I think based on our background, it's quite challenging. Because where we come from, your parents direct you on what they want you to do. Okay? So when we come back here, the kids are different. Born and bred, they can speak up, they have a choice. From my own experience, I think it's best to use career advisors at school. You can say all you want to say, but they know your child better. Okay? And also, you force, I work in the health profession, right? I've got many people who come in as doctors, junior doctors, bless them. 1 year and this, and they're finished. That's it. I finished. Or why are you backing out? I did it for my parents.
Then they end up joining a band or what? Where do they live to do? What do they live to do then? After that?
They live. Some of them become Amazon drivers. Wallahi.
Yeah.
I did it for them. I didn't want that. Because they pushed me. They said they would disown me. Right? They've sacrificed so much for me. So I did it for them. I've got the degree, I've worked 1 year. I don't want it. So you need to listen to your children more. You were in Durham today. Our daughter is in Durham, alhamdulillah, our first one. And she graduates soon, inshallah. But also another thing is, we need to engage them more. We may think these kids are stupid, but they're really smart. I think some smarter than us sometimes. And also when sister was saying, oh, they have to go straight into a master's, I think I concur with you. That's way too early. 1 year into your qualification, you don't know what path you want to lead.
But Justin, having said that, I mean, when I listened to Ziada's explanation, especially, I mean, consider like Uganda now. I've seen Uganda, the pressure to have like an additional qualification, because everyone, you get 10,000 graduates every year, 10,000. Chasing a job market that is thinning by the day because the private sector is government is the biggest employer. It can only consume or absorbs just so many. So the master's now comes in as an additional thing that comes in to give a person a sort of an added advantage. While on one hand, I'm very strongly of the belief that someone should build some kind of experience. When you actually do your master's, when you've been in the working world, you are much better off. You see the kind of theses that are written by people who have been out and they've come in to do the courses post, their work. The difference is just very visible. This one is very academic. This is very practical. It's actually, looking to you in the face in terms of the realities of what are out there. So I'm a bit conflicted. Well, on one hand, I feel experience should be built, but having listened to the experience that Ziada has sort of said, and seeing what Uganda is now, people are in offices, but at the same time, they are running to Uganda Management Institute, to Makerere University, to make sure they are sort of adding to their educational qualifications. The pressure is immense just to make sure one is still relevant.
Sure, Kayira, let me tell you something. Uganda is different. It's technical know-how. Okay?
Right.
And also here, I've been on interview panels. Having a master doesn't mean you're good for the job. It's the wealth you bring in there, the experience, the knowledge, right? You could have someone with a master's and someone who has a bad degree, but with the experience, one-on-one, the one with all the masters probably do better than them.
Yeah.
I know on paper, you're like, okay, we'll shortlist them because they've got a master's. But what does a master's mean? You're going for 18 months, 12 months, and come back with no experience? I'd rather take someone who's got experience, to be honest, because you can build them.
All right.
And they've been there before.
Yes, we have. Fantastic. Thank you very much, Justin. Much appreciated. And remember, there's nothing to suggest that once you've spoken, you can't speak again. I'm just opening up the room so that we can have more people coming into the conversation. Remember, the program is Come, Let's Talk with me, Kassim Kayira. We are live on 75W Radio. We are live on Umma Connected on YouTube, on Facebook, and on Zoom, where the conversation is continuing tonight. Isa Makumbi, I come to you. We are talking career paths or career, well, choices of career. Where do we go from where we are at? Isa, you studied. First of all, did you end up doing what you went to school?
Let's go there. Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
I've had enough people been talking about that. For me, I'm one of the lucky one.
I mean,
from primary 7, I knew what I wanted to be. My desire was to be a mechanical engineer. So I wouldn't compromise. I wouldn't listen to anything other than that. I knew what I need to do if I was going to do engineering. Math was the requirement, physics was the requirement, and chemistry was the requirement. The thing was, how do I get there? I knew A-level, what I was supposed to do. When I finished the A-level, fortunately, I wasn't offered the place at Makerere. So because I had something to fall on, I knew that I had to go abroad. And then I chose to go Soviet Union by then.
Vanessa, hold on one second. Let's just go back. We were wondering about the choice of courses. You knew what you wanted to do. Is that a conversation you had with your parents and they were in agreement, or were they the ones who actually had encouraged you to do that?
My father had something in mind that either be an engineer or a doctor or a lawyer. Anything.
The traditional courses. Yes. Okay, yeah, go ahead. So you leave Uganda because you were not admitted in Makerere, and you end up going to Soviet Union, I think.
Yeah, in Moscow, where I did to Soviet Union, where I did mechanical engineer.
Right.
People, as soon as I finished, I got a job. I'm one of the most of those people were studying in Soviet Union. They knew that as soon as they leave Soviet Union, they had to go to Sweden to do some odd jobs, to be there. Those are the bad days, whereby 60%, 80% of the graduates were going abroad, they were going to exam. But because for me, I knew what I wanted, before even I graduated, I was looking for a job. I remember I went to the Libyan embassy. Ambassador told me that, yeah, you want to get a job in Libya, but who are you? I said, I'm an engineer. He asked me for the degree. I said, no, I'm graduating in June. He said, when you graduate, come here. But at the moment, you are nobody.
Yes.
The day I graduated, after 1 week, I had a job.
With the Libyans or elsewhere?
With the Libyan.
Yes.
Yeah. Then I had to go and do the Indian nuclear reactor. I was there for some 4 years. Then I was fed up with their life. I couldn't manage their life. When I looked at it, there was no future over there. I could get money, but I knew that if I'm to go anywhere, I had to get out of that place.
But now, Engineer Makumbi, you've ended up coming in, you lived in the UK, where you lived for many years. When you were working, for example, with the local authorities, Was that something totally different from what you studied?
When I came here, I did something that was similar to that. First of all, I was maintenance assistant. That was just a pass.
Yeah.
When I was there, I did teach for 2 or 3 years. I went into the field which was near to what I was doing, mechanical engineering. When I was working with the local authority, there was a technical officer in the Maton for some time. But because of the structure and everything that has been going on, I knew that what we studied at home and what was working in this place. If I'm a mechanical engineer or electrical engineer, you have to be on call out. Anytime you could go and do the work. It's not like a life in Uganda where you work 9 to 5 or 8 to 5 and then you go home. But here, anytime they could call you midnight, anytime you could be on call out.
Now you went ahead to have children, Isa Makumbi. You have your own children.
Yeah.
What sort of conversations did you have with
when I'm with my children, ask them what do you want. What they decide, they say if I want to do that course, these are the requirements. These are the basics. I don't decide.
Yes, so you had a conversation with your children regarding how they could go about the courses.
Have interest you are doing. But
are you not that parent who is insisting that because you did engineering, your children should also become engineers or do the law that you wanted or medicine?
Fortunately, I try my level best teaching them mathematics to get them do the work. They told me that we don't want the life you are living because times we used to be on weddings, then they call you for some functions or for some work. So they hated it. I don't have anybody who near to what I did.
So what did they end up doing, if you don't mind?
One of them is a lawyer.
Yes.
Another one is IT.
It's IT, yes.
Yeah.
All
but
right.
for me, I don't have anything in what they are doing.
Barakallahu fikum.
The thing is, what I found, most of these parents over here, they want the children to do the subject they want. And one has been talking about, if you do the first degree, go for masters, it becomes a disadvantage. You find if you are looking for any job, most of the managers have got first degree. When
they are scared that you will take their jobs. You will take their job when you come.
So you become overqualified for this job. The advice I'll tell people, as soon as you graduate, get a job, then they are training facilities over there. When I was in Maton, I ended up a surveyor because I had to change. I got a job because I was in the background that I had with the mechanical. When I went to interview, I told them that mechanical and civil, they're almost similar. The other one is because of brick, the other one is metal, but the principle is the same. But I say, what are the possibilities? There are trainings on the job.
Haji, I'm coming to you because you've asked a question in the chat room, which I think I'll put to Isa and then straight away come to you. I've already unmuted you. Isa, maybe before you go, because Haji is raising a question that I'm going to put back to him, but now since you still hold the mic, I'll put it to you. He says, let somebody help me on how to discuss how best to advise our kids on their career path. So what is your best advice to children on their career path, Isa?
First, you see what they want, what subject they're good in, the subject they like, or they can afford, or they are good at. Then from there, you do some research, guide them, the possibility that there are opportunities of getting jobs. There are some jobs whereby you can't get any job. If you are doing marketing, there are a few that unless you are I'm the owner of the company, they won't give you that particular job. But much of the do the research. What are job opportunities? What are the training facilities? Those are things that matters. People have been talking about, say, because we're discriminated. That's the thing which is holding us. You go to the job, if you are the best, they will take you. Because if one is looking for someone, you want to get someone who can do the job. People nowadays, color becomes irrelevant at the moment. And what I usually advise these young boys, they have got the best opportunity. The top man is the prime minister. He's like you. He has proved that he can do anything. Children have seen all the faces. If you look at the cabinet, they are black people like you who are ministers, who are making policies. So if you think that you are saying I'm being discriminated, I think you are being unjust to yourself.
Right. Thank you very much.
That is the limit.
Barakallahu fikum, and we can bring you anytime back. Remember, the conversation is still going on. Haji, you have the microphone, and I'll begin actually by putting the very question you asked to yourself. Assalamu alaikum. How are you today?
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Anyway, thank you for these topics which you are bringing. And at the same time, you are an international journalist. You are also belonging to the community of Islam here and also working in one of the largest organizations, BBC. So it's very good. But some of them are very sensitive because many people don't see the thing behind this. For example, when we talk about career path here in UK and you want to advise your kids, probably are you among the Black community? If you are among our community, the Black community, and you like to advise best for your children, it will, number one, you need to look at this, the system of administration in UK. The system of administration in UK has always been divide and rule. It will never change. However much they will say there are equal opportunities, the Equality Act is put in place, there are equal opportunities on every application you read, they are not there.
So you don't agree with Isa Makumbi when he says...
I don't agree at all. And I'm giving my reasons. And I'm going to give my reasons. If you live in any place, you will see that when they are bringing in refugees in this area, in this country, they will make sure that if they are Somalis, they'll put them in a certain place in Bristol. If they are Jamaicans, they'll put them in some place in Brixton. When you go to certain area, you'll find that the Kensington has got Arabs. They will divide them according to race, indication, and understanding. And that doesn't stop there. Even in the classroom, when the teacher finds that this child is Black and has got A+, they separate him straight away. You'll find that in one classroom, there are two groups, Group A, Group B, Group C, and each of them are given different coaching. Those whom they think that they are rubbish, they don't spend much time on them. And they get frustrated straight away from the beginning. So even if your child has a desire to be a psychologist and he gets first-class degree in psychology, he's not going to open a consultant room and somebody is going to come there and consult him and give him his problems. You must know what you want to do and where you want to do it. But if he becomes a very good specialist and if he has got an NGO which is going back to Africa and they give it to him to head, that's fine. But what percentage are they? That's why you see the jobs which are reserved for us is teaching, nursing, and security.
Thank you very much, Haj.
Secondly, the reason is that...
Please go ahead.
Okay, I was through giving you more input.
No problem. Yeah.
The reason is because this country is different from America. If, for example, you are in America, you have qualifications, degrees and masters and all that, it matters a lot. But here, they have foundation degrees. That's why they have NVQ1, NVQ2, NVQ3, and apprenticeship. A person who has grown up through those NVQs is better than a person who has come out with a degree. And when you go to apply for work, it's better to study the status structure in that organization, because you might find that most of them have passed through apprenticeship and most of them have gone climbing NVQ1, NVQ2, NVQ3 up to the top. So when you come with your master's showing it off that you want a job, they will say you are overqualified. So you end up going to teaching. Even if you are qualified in mechanical engineering, you could see that there's nobody who's going to employ you as a manager in his marketing company.
Shafiq, you seem to agree with Haji on this. Let's talk. Let's just become monotonous.
So if you want to advise your children,
yes,
ask them, see what their role is. They can still become what they want to be through these areas. For example, security is very wide. A lot of people look at security as only what is it called? This is door supervision.
Just door supervision, yes. So
no. There is a lot of insecurity where you can go and excel. But because this is a reserve for us, you will be excelling among your own community, and you will be easily be noticed than when you go and do for those people where they are going to.
You make it sound so painful, Haj. Yeah? But when you talk about security, it's wide. You could do even cyber security. Why not take it to that point at least? Away from competing with your own.
Cyber security is something which has to do with the artificial intelligence. The person in the IQ must be above average, and most of us Black community people, our average IQ is just the medium. We don't exceed, because to have that kind of IQ, you need to have no stress, you need to have a balanced diet, you need to have a very good upbringing, independent living.
Haj, I'm sure many people will have a view on this, especially when it comes, if IQ is going to be measured by that. We are actually less stressed. We Africans actually have less stress in comparison to our.
No. That's a perception. That's a perception. We think that we are less stressed and we have a better living than our counterparts. But our counterparts.
Shafiq, speak to Haj, please.
I will disagree with you on that, because
I will give you time. That's why let me hammer my point straight away. If you have done your research, you see where the number.
Haji, this is a conversation, and when you're having a conversation, you allow someone to come in and
okay, I allow him now.
I'm not taking you away. I'm not taking you away.
I reserve my point.
You are still on. Oh, sorry. You are still, can you please unmute? I wanted to mute Kawesa. Kawesa, I think is my.
Okay, bring them on.
Yes, Shafiq, please.
I have opened the Pandora.
Shafiq, go ahead, please.
Sorry. Had just got some points, but obviously there is someone.
Yes, I'm trying to get Kawesa. I think it was Kawesa's microphone that was bleeding through, but I think it's sorted. Oh, it's okay now. Yes, Shafiq. Yes, speak to Hadi.
I agree on some of Hadi's point, because he was like on point. And for example, about security, it's not about those provisions. When you go into events now, everything relies on security. Hence why there is some position, you just come and you monitor the area and then you go, but in case anything happens, it's upon you, and all that goes to security. So it's not about those provisions. So yeah. The other thing for the IQ, I think we are more blessed because, first of all, us, we will take pride in our religion. Like, we don't drink. So we don't drink. We might get stressed, but anyone can get stressed. So we don't use anything that takes our mind off. So our brain, the IQ, is always there. We might not be intelligent, but the IQ is there because we don't use anything.
Well, Shafiq, Sarah Mivule is disagreeing with you, saying anyone who can read past A level or university is not average student. We are above average. Oh, actually, that's not you. That's to Haji. I think that would be to Haji.
Yeah,
that's the above average where he was talking about the IQ.
Yeah, so for me, to contribute on the conversation about, there's a lot of careers in this country that had come up, but obviously the difference, the family where we're coming from, and obviously if you've grown up, a lot of our parents, they're more into nursing, lawyers, and you can't blame them because that's what at the generation they were at. Those were the high-paying jobs. But now, as the world is evolving and changing, a lot of things are coming up. Right now, the money in media, subhanallah, media has changed everything. Money is there. People are earning ridiculous money, but these are the things that we don't know.
Now, Shafiq, well, just to put it into perspective for our viewers as well, following the program, which is Come Let's Talk with me, Kassim Kayira, tonight, 5 minutes past 9 o'clock. Shafiq is the head of the youth within the Ugandan Muslim community in the United Kingdom. Recently, you did hold a career fair.
Yes.
I would like to take your own findings. So what exactly transpired? What did you find that was from the people that came in to attend the career? Haji, I haven't forgotten you. I'm coming back to you. I just want, now that I have Shafiq, let me finish with him and then bring you back into the conversation.
Because
Aida and Soedi, your hands, I can see them. I'll be coming.
Sorry, sir, but
so Shafiq, you held this career fair, and what did you see that came out of that? What became apparent to you? Was there a lack of knowledge about what people wanted to do? Did people come in and they actually knew what they wanted to do? Give us an insight into that career path, which was, I think, was the first one, the career fair that was held recently, just last year.
Yeah, we had a career fair which was, inshallah, successful. However, turn up, it wasn't that great, but the people who came really enjoyed, because we started all the way from like age of 10, 9, trying to find kids and giving them advice on what do you want in life, what can you do. And we had people coming down to obviously teach them, citing them to sites that can be useful in case they get any problem in school. How can they keep on, getting their targets? And then we had people from different kind of like career paths, including construction. We've got civil servants, we've got nurses, we've got paramedic, events, physiotherapists. We had a lot of range. And during all these were young people who obviously are in jobs, and they were really trying to help these youngsters that, well, in case they needed any help in terms of any type of career they wanted at that, like on the day, they were there to help. So, however, we got some, what we came to know about a lot of probably the kids, or at the time, some that were still young and they wanted to have this kind of like activities for example, every after 3 months, so that they keep a track on what they want. And they also requested for people who can act as like mentors to be with them and follow up, instead of being a once-time meet in a year. We make it like, I think, twice a week. People exchange numbers and keep it. But obviously, all that we're trying to plan that and create that.
But it was definitely an eye opener. It showed that things can be done and it can happen. I think as a community, we should be very, very proud that we are even able to sort of begin to pull off things like this. I think UMC Youth UK has corrected me to say this was not the first event. However, says that the first event was on Zoom. So this was the first live event. So I'm still right on that. Okay, yeah. Yes, please.
It was really a good event. And obviously, as you look at, obviously, the past 2 years, if you look at our records, especially for me who work with a lot of youngsters, there is a high number of youngsters who don't know what they're going to do.
All right. Okay, thank you very much.
And all that. So they don't know, they can't even write a CV. They can't even go and ask for a job. So yes, we might. For the people that are on the career, if it's 100%, you're looking at like 20%. But the 80%, they're the most struggling, who, and they're from our community. So a lot needs to be worked, especially within our community, to obviously try and attend and, get involved in such kind of events, so that we help those children, because they form our community, they're part of us, and we can't, neglect it. But it's kind of like a big problem in the young people alike.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Shafiq. I'm only taking you off so that I can bring in more people. Haji, I would like to bring you back to conclude, so then I can move to Aida and then Soedi and widen the conversation. Just to remind you, if you've just joined us, this is Come, Let's Talk. With me, Kassim Kayira. We are live on 75W Radio. We are live on Ummah Connected on YouTube, on Zoom, and on Facebook. Well, the conversation is about career paths. How do we determine where do we go? Where do we go with our paths, with our careers? And that is definitely something that we're having a conversation about. So I'll come back to you, Haji, so that I conclude with you and then move to Ida and go to Soweto. Yes, Haj, you are concluding, you're trying to compare the Indians and the Jewish community just in terms of determining where they want to be.
Yes, I was telling you that career paths does not only limit you on your ability to expand yourself in the environmental area, but it also depends on your generation gap. You find that if you have just moved in, for example, most of us are migrants who have just moved into Europe, and we don't have 3 or 4 generations. Most of us are second generation, which have just moved in here. So it takes a time for you to adapt and set into the environment. Whereas when you see our counterparts, like the Jews and the Asians, they have been here, they have up to 3 generations. And during this course, they have been able to mark the line of careers which their children should pass. And that's why you see them, a lot of them are in pharmacology, they are in dentist, they are in, it's not by coincidence that they are doing IT, but they have looked at their environmental status, the way, the opportunities where they can find them. And that's the only area they find they cannot compete with those who are doing marketing and management. So
right, actually, Haji, that's a very interesting point at which I would like actually to just move from you, simply because you raised this point and I'd like to flag it across, and I'll take it back later on to Ziada once we've heard from Ida and Soweto. But very important point that I'd like us actually, why is it difficult? Why has it been difficult for us? Or is it actually possible? Because calling it difficult when we haven't tried it is not, it might not be appropriate. Why is it difficult? Because the Indians have excelled. They've known it's pharmacology, it's medicine. They've gone into that. They've known their trade areas. They've gone into trade and they've excelled into it. Is it possible for us as Africans probably to find an area that we can excel in? Actually, do we have a sector that we can excel in? Probably that should be the starting point. What are we good at? You've already told us our IQ is not good.
No, I didn't say like that. I said I didn't say our IQ is not very good. Yes. But our IQ depends on your environment, where you bring your
okay. So do we have something that we can excel in and that we can actually maximize in? And
that's what we have to identify. You need to identify.
So we don't have it.
But possibly you must look at areas where there is no competition. But
maybe actually what we want is an area that has competition so that we come in and excel, because
no, we cannot compete with the counterparts because the generation gap is so big. We have just landed in this country. We are just learning how to use their lifestyle and all that. And at the same time, we want to manage them. It's impossible.
Haji, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'll just bring in Ida and I'll pick up with that same question. Ida, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you very much, Haji. Very, very nice insights. Ida, I pick up on with you on this particular point before I let you delve into your own. Haji raises a very important point. The Jews have seen the areas that they excel in. They've gone into that. Go into property management or real estate, you'll find they will raise the money. They will come together. They put everything that they've got towards it, and it will excel. You'll find, go to any area. Actually, Newcastle here is the biggest. I didn't even know this until last week, that Newcastle has the biggest number of the Jewish community in the United Kingdom and in Europe for that matter. I thought France was until I was educated last week. So, but you come in here and you look at, there's an entire area called Bensham. All of it, I mean, an entire council, they've taken it over. They've gone in and, excelled in that particular area. They have determined what they can do and they do it well. The Indians have come in, they've known its medicine, its pharmacies and pharmacology. They've taken, look at all the pharmacies, they've gone to becoming doctors, they've excelled in that. Do we have an area that we can excel and make our own and actually now, take it over and, so that it is seen that if we are not there, this area will stop?
Thank you. I wish I had the answer, but I'm afraid I'm sorry to disappoint, but I don't listen
Sorry, Ida, I can't hear you. Your
Can you
microphone
hear me
is
now?
too low.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, much
Hello.
better.
Yeah, I was going to say that I don't think I can claim to know the answer to that one. But what I will mention is that even though Hajj and others have said that we do have kind of these structural inequalities, it is true that there are barriers like ethnicity, social class, gender, and so forth. And I think all the research does point to those barriers existing. There's also evidence for people like us who are excelling in these fields. And I think it's very easy for us to compare ourselves to other communities or to other individuals without realizing that actually our journey has been quite different from a generation perspective. Our journey is, so I think it's an unfair comparison to kind of look at where we are now, when actually we're at the beginning point of things. The other thing just to mention is that I think we're also in the habit of talking, not of having low expectations of ourselves. I mean, when we forget that we are our
Ida,
ancestors.
I'm struggling
Can you hear
again
me
with
now?
the voice.
Can you hear me now? Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
I'll hold
try
the
to come
microphone.
slightly louder.
Yeah,
I'm
and
struggling
now,
to hear you and
and
therefore
now,
missing your point. Yes,
and
that's
now,
much
yeah.
better.
So I was going to say that the point I was saying is that sometimes the way in which we speak to ourselves as a community and the way that we speak to young people as a community is always from the perspective of inequality, from the perspective of, you have to work 10 times harder than everybody. And I completely agree with that. It's very difficult, but at the same time, our ancestors are people like Mansi Musa. Africa was one of the cradles of civilization. Our history and our heritage is so rich. We also follow in the prophetic way of Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So excellence and education, we own that. It's in our tradition and we have a very long heritage. Now, the societies in which we've come and found ourselves, again, societies that have been written for us in the end of the day, our contribution, this might be really, really controversial, but I think it's also important for us. Of course, we are of the diaspora, but we also belong to the society, and that you have a right, we should know our rights to contribute and to live here. And if you do experience inequality, to confront that, but to not
So
make
Ida, is it
Yeah.
hereditary? Because you mentioned the kind of historical pride that we had, and then our confidence was shaken, our independence was taken, and for years we sort of that. So it's so we've inherited from our grandfathers and great grandfathers the losses that they incurred at the hands of colonialism, for example. Is it possible for us to capture that back?
I think I'm not a historian and I'm not a psychologist to comment about issues like generational baggage and so forth. But what I'm saying is that because we experience these challenges, them in themselves aren't a reason for us to make those challenges. The reason why we don't get our children to go into those industries that are highly competitive. They are women, they are Black women, they are Muslim women, they are people of all ethnicities that are inside this world. Yes, it is harder. I'm not taking any of that away, but that's why things like mentorship, as Shafiq has mentioned, are really, really vital, because with mentorship, when you can see people that look like you in these fields, it's really, really powerful. And the other thing is that children form perceptions about their limitations actually a lot earlier than we think. So people think, all right, a 5-year-old or 6-year-old, there'll be time for them to get their confidence, there'll be time. But by the age of 8, children, especially young girls, have already made career perceptions about things they can't and cannot do. So I think we need to look at it not from look at it from all angles. So from young ages, to make sure that we're exposing our children to as many areas as we can. And of course, there are barriers like cost to some of these things, but there are also free resources that we as a community need to be educated about. So, for example, take your children to the museum, make sure that you get careers guidance. I think there's a huge knowledge gap within our community. For example, women in STEM, there's so much funding in that area, even in the sports field. There is a lot of funding for people like us as well. There are a lot of things that have come in the way to help remedy some of these inequalities, even though they still exist. And then finally,
don't you think the kind of setup that we have sort of makes it difficult? If dad and mom are running behind shifts, it becomes difficult to find the time for the museum. You find that the time for the museum is 10 to 3, and they will be closing, and that's the time you are rushing behind a shift.
But if I can challenge that a little, it's why we need a sense of community. It's why the idea of raising children together is so important. So, for example, as busy as we are we can make time for certain things, right? So if we prioritize our children's exposure and inclusion just as much as we prioritize other things, we will actually see kind of a shift in our community and being together. For example, I remember Shafiq once got basketball tickets for the youth, and one of the ladies there took a whole group of youth with her. So it's that mentality of, we're not just looking after our children, but as a community, if I progress, I want to take everybody with me. But the other thing that I really want to mention that I think is also important to look at is that one of the areas that we really neglect is it's becoming less about knowledge, right? Because knowledge particularly in areas of data, because when we look at data, technologies are being developed that can help process. I'm talking about artificial intelligence. It's become less about mechanics as well to some extent, because even within those fields, you are finding, for example, factories that operate 24/7 with only 2 operators because of that involvement. But what the key focus is going to be in the next couple of decades is going to be about the skill set that individuals have, right? And I'm not talking about hardcore technical skills. I'm talking about the life skills. So the creativity an individual has, the level of communication, the level of strategic thinking. So I think even us as a community, you might get your child to be academic. You might say, okay, fine, you're going to become a doctor, even if they want to be a doctor. Let's say I'm being very traditional in my thinking at the moment. But if that child hasn't developed those life skills, it's going to be a very big issue, because what will happen is, I work in government at the moment, what will happen is you go to the interview and your child doesn't know how to communicate. But do you think communication is developed at the age of 18? It begins off at the age of, from childhood. So we're missing out our focus is so often sometimes so one-sided that we forget the entire system, if that makes sense. But those are some reflections. But for the
did you determine your own course? Did you determine your own course of study, or did your parents determine for you?
I think it was a combination of both, to be honest. So I come from both like a vocational background and also an academic background. So I did a BTEC in school. So I did a BTEC in business management, but I ended up doing a law degree. I worked in law for a bit, and then I went into government. But my academic
so from BTEC to law, that's quite a change.
Yeah, and I wasn't very academic growing up. In fact, I had very few GCSEs. I do love reading, for example, but like I don't come from a traditional path. And right now in my field, I work in international fields. So me as a Muslim Black woman, I represent the UK in meetings with French counterparts, with Spanish counterparts, with the US, with the UAE, and all these countries. And I'm still so early in my career, but I have to make sure that I'm sharing these examples with young people who think that they can't make it. You can. I haven't made it yet. I'm still trying. And we have to remember that it's not just about getting a job. It's not just about getting a degree or an apprenticeship and so forth. It's also, once you enter those fields, what do you do? Because lots of people that say you have the communication and so forth, you enter those fields and you don't know how to play the game. There's a whole area of career development that even comes from operating in these very difficult structures. So I'm sorry to speak for too long, but I just want to say that.
Not at all. Much appreciated, Aida. It's the first time I'm actually hearing you on the program as well, and quite an insight. A difficult line a little bit there. I must apologize to the listeners and viewers. It wasn't the easiest of lines, so I had to stretch a little bit, but fantastic.
Yeah, Dr. Kassim. Sorry, Sheikh Kassim, to intervene, yes, but Aida, one of our colleagues that we work with, and as she has said, she's one of the Black girl Muslim. So if we've got models like that and willing to give back, we kind of like, we've got somewhere. We've got somewhere, and we do work down on the ground or work somewhere there. It's being done. So we shouldn't feel like there's no people there doing. There's some people there doing things, and they still in progress. Yeah, and they're representing us, but we don't know. So the reason why I'm saying that, any parents there, bring the kids, and we stay together as a community.
Thank you very much. Wa alaikum salam. Thank you very much, Aida. I'll just bring in Sowed, and it's 25 minutes.
Sorry, Mr. Kassim, can I just say one last thing, just for everybody here? Like, just remember that when you're working, everything that you're doing, you're not, because we're so far generationally behind in terms of the structures that we have in place, you're not necessarily going to reap all of the rewards in this generation, but I promise you a time will come when all of your efforts and so forth, your children, their children, and so forth, as generations progress, you will see that really, really big change. But right now, us who are in it, us who are struggling, we are going to pave that way, and we have to come to that realization of we're not comparing ourselves to others. That's unhelpful for our situations, but we are accountable to God. We are accountable to, all of us have skill sets. All of us have been given intelligence, the different types of intelligence. Not all of us are academics. Some of us might be socially, like, have emotional intelligence. So like everybody here has skill sets, and we will be held to account for that. I'll leave it at that. But please get in touch with the youth committee. I'm the skills officer there. So just get in touch with Shafiq, get in touch with the team if there's any young person here.
Much appreciated, Ida, much appreciated there. It's 26 minutes past 9 o'clock. Very interesting conversation now. It's sort of taken a different twist altogether. You start seeing a sort of a given direction that the conversation starts taking. I'll bring Soweid Masawa. And Soweid, I'm just taking you straight into a particular question, which is where I'd like, well, I'll take you back to your own story, but I'd like to start from that particular point of departure, which is, we've seen Jews, they've excelled in business. They've gone there, they've done it. Indians have come in, they've gone into the medical profession. They have done it. They have excelled at it. They own it, essentially. You look at this country and you see if the Indians or Asians were to be taken out of the picture, where that would leave, you know, the economy and just start spreading across the world. Why is it difficult? Do we have an area that we can excel in, that we say if we are not there, it won't happen?
I don't think there is an area that, because of the media, the way it has played out most of the stuff. Because I'll bring you straight to one example. Because when you look at the media, the way the media has portrayed a Black child or an African, they've made it look that unless you are an athlete, a professional athlete, you will never hit the top. You get it? So to us, every Black parent you see, they are fighting to take their kids for football, for this, for that. They think because Raheem Sterling is excelling, because
so Ed, you actually bring something that I was thinking about, that many of us, when we are talking about careers, the way you are going to struggle to explain how someone needs to become a professor when Raheem Sterling is earning that amount of money. It becomes difficult to a parent.
And they've made it for a Black child. For them, they think that's their role model. Yeah. They have told them that, look, that is where you're supposed to be. If you want to be known as a Kayira Hussein, yeah, a Ugandan of this Ugandan descent, to be on the top of go find your way to get to play for Newcastle United, right? That's what they've made us to believe. And that's how it has been even in the US. In the US, it's about music.
It's about athletics or basketball. You get into NBA and then
forgetting.
Are you reading or just messing about?
Oh. Is that your line, Soedi?
Sorry, no, it's not mine. It's not mine. Someone else, Sega.
Are you sure? Okay, I'll check that. I'll check that and silent. I will take that over. Apologies, Soed.
I don't have a woman in my background.
I'll find that and mute it, I think. Oh, it's Kawesa. It kept bleeding in. Okay, I think it's been dealt with.
Sega Kayira, when you look at it, yeah, so we have been already brainwashed. So we are now struggling to tell these kids that, look, we got sisters as young as Ida and Shafiq. They've excelled. We can also excel in these areas. I've got a young man.
Yeah, but so Eddie, I'm sorry. I'll just take you on this. Is there an area that we can excel in? Because like I said, the Jews went into real estate, they went into business, they started the whole book all the time from, you know, Shakespeare's Merchant of Venice. You see a Jew coming in and is a business person. They understand the concept of business. They've taken over real estate. They've gone into management. It's either a football team and they will make money out of it. The Indians have come in and they've gone into the medical field and IT. They've excelled in that area.
I would say
we have an area that we can that we can call ours and therefore be able to excel in it. Answer that for me, please.
I would say let's go into academics. Honestly.
Which academics? Academics is too wide.
Let's go into writing.
So wait, you are not answering my question. Do we have an area that we
don't have?
Right.
We don't have.
So why has that been the case then? Apologies, I mean, I'm not being hard on you. I just want to make sure that in having this conversation, we are able to address that.
It's because of the reason that I first cited, and then what Haji put across initially, that there's a generation gap. Those people are in the 3rd or 4th generation, and some of us, when we come here, I don't know about other people's stories, but
someone is seriously saying, I would like to say that we excel in agriculture, that we push ourselves into agriculture. You can say it. I didn't say it. Yes, so the apologies. Just go ahead,
so
please. Just show the message.
I missed a point there. I was trying to say something. Yeah, when Haji said that the 4th or 3rd generation, we are the 2nd generation at most, but we are the 1st generation. When people come in, for example, when especially Ugandans, I'm going to give an example. When we first come in, we don't even come in with the intentions of staying in this country for decades.
Yeah, we come for 6 months. 6 months is the target, and we go back.
Yeah, some of us have formed families here accidentally. We have accidentally found ourselves married, accidentally found ourselves with children, probably forces, some factors forced you out, and then you ended up with this woman, and then you have kids, or this woman ended up with this guy. But the whole thing is, we first invest back home. When things fail over there, the money you've invested there, it's all eaten up. Everything that you've put down there, it's eaten up. It's when you think, Uganda. It's when you begin building up a life and everything here. Whereas an Indian guy, when he's here, they will know that they have no space in India. They fight for every inch of land there. When they get an opportunity to get their foot on this land, they will say, I'm not leaving this place. This is home now. They will begin from scratch. I know people that came in at the same time with me. When I meet them in the streets, I'm embarrassed to say, Kayira. The guy will tell you, I've got 4 houses. And they mean it. They're landlords. And when they tell you my tenants are disturbing land, you're like, really? When you remember the guy, this is the guy you came in at almost the same time, probably you were doing same old jobs together at that time. Now you're meeting up in the supermarket, you're sharing the experiences. He's telling you, I have to rush to be and kill my tenants have just called me for this. And they indeed have these things, but not because, but because they made a decision. And then there's that cultural aspect of it. People have said it. They have a culture. They value their culture. They have ring-fenced everything. It is us who are free to allow other people to penetrate into our cultures and take away our cultures. But them, they are enclosed. They are protective of what they have. They support each other, and they know. There you go. They are there. But what I would say to the parents over here is, try and push the kids to go to school, because there are still opportunities in this country. I know people that have excelled through academic excellence. Have your distinctions in A levels or university, get it fast and everything. Yes, there will be issues when you apply for these jobs. Probably you go for an interview, then the panel, you turn out to be, they see one Kassim Kayira, who's a dark Dugala from Ntungamo, they said to her. But I'm telling you, there will be that panel that will accept you. You'll find a company that wants to make you as part of the statistics, and they will take you in. And then from there, you prove a point over there. You show them.
beyond being a statistic.
Yes, yeah, you excel and show them I'm not just a part of the statistics. I'm credible enough to be in this job. Because
so in terms of career, Soweto, did you end up doing what when you were going to uni, what sort of input did your parents have?
I will tell you, Kayira, the person who guided me when I was going to study. I think you must be knowing him, because you you are an alumni of IUIU. You know Dr. Eliasa Kassim?
Very much so, yes.
That was the guy. Now that guy was a family friend. Now when I was studying in O-levels, A-levels, to him, he always told me that he wanted me to study business and major in marketing. All along, he used to talk me through marketing and tells me the advantages. He used to cite me exam because he had a hospital, a clinic in Mbale, and he was struggling to market it. So he tells me, look, I don't even have a marketer for this business of mine. So he told me everyone needs a marketer in this world.
Is that what you wanted to do, though? I mean, talking to you is one thing, but is that what you wanted to do?
But initially, I always wanted to go into a career path to study law because, I thought it was it was
a posh thing to have.
Yeah, it was a posh thing to have. Now, Dr. Kassim talks me through that. Then I get my application. I get through IUIU. I get admitted into business course. Then I also put another application in Makerere. I get admitted into Bachelor of Commerce. Then along the way I ended up here. But then that thing was still scratching me, that I had unfinished business with this law career. So when I came over here, I said to myself, let me just give a shot to what I always wanted to do. I went and studied law. Yeah. Now, again, I got a shock of my life here. When I got into law, I realized it's an old boys club. Yeah. Breaking through the ranks, you're very lucky. It is so-and-so son, so-and-so son. His friend is a partner in the law firm there. So I realized it was hard. And some of those facts begin trickling in when you're in the middle of the course, and then people coming in to give career talks and then all these.
So did you drop out? Did you get discouraged?
No, I said I'm not going to drop out. I completed the course, but then I thought I have to think hard whether it's going to work for me. I tried out, it was not working out because one, I did not produce the kind of result that I will hold on to in terms of grade wise. It wasn't first and it wasn't second upper. So to me, when I looked at every interview I was going to, most of the people had a first, and from top universities, you're talking about Durham. I had 2 people from Durham, Now I said to myself, why? If people from Durham, some of them are not going, they're telling you they've tried 3 times, they're not getting in. Then I said to myself, I think
I'm in the wrong course. All right, thank you very much, Soed. I'm just leaving you so that I can bring in more people. My goodness, time flies when things are getting interesting. 38 minutes past 9.
By the way, I did not know that this topic would be very interesting. That's why I was very reluctant to join.
To come on. Well, you will be surprised. There is always a way around it, especially when stories come in. And Catherine Sally, I come to you. And I'll go, Issa, I'll come to you, inshallah. And Ziada is still waiting there, whose expertise we've been feeding and milking from. But I'm sure listening to this conversation now will sort of inform your own judgment, the way forward when it comes to the career path. So Eddie's just spoken about, the idea of the boys club and, how you sometimes find yourself sort of limited and cut off, and to break through it will be difficult. The boy I spoke about, the architect in making, who I spoke about in the introduction to this conversation, in case you missed it, one of the advices I gave to him was, once he completes his studies at uni, the best alternative would be to go through come through the process of a partnership. He goes into a firm that is already existent and uses that as a platform, because that would expose them, to people who have had experience, and then use that as a platform to develop themselves later on. So that might be the way around, because sometimes even with these dilemmas, when you have big boys or whatever clubs, the only way is you start small, get the platform, get exposure, you get one good case, you see it through, and that would break the ice for you, and that might actually open up doors. Catherine, I'm trying to get you to unmute yourself. Hi, Catherine, are you there? Hello, Catherine, sorry. Your hand was up and then it disappeared. I think you thought we took too long to get to you. Hajat Sarah Semakura says the area we have excelled in is taxi and van driving. Hajat Sarah, are you suggesting then that we should see ways of how to make the best out of this?
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. You're almost saying now we've excelled in taxi and van driving, and therefore our efforts should be put into excelling into that.
Well, Mr. Kayira, I would point it to you that almost most of the people who are doing those jobs are highly educated. They came with their degrees from Uganda. I'm talking about our Ugandan community. Most of our men and women who are doing jobs like that, they have their degrees, but they can't use
when
them.
you say jobs like that, you're meaning the taxi.
I'm talking the taxi driving and van driving. These are people who have very high qualifications in different fields, but you know how they grade us here, and maybe probably because we use routes that are not really straightforward routes to come in, and we end up keeping our papers in our suitcases, and we never get them out to use them to look for work. So probably this might work for your children and my children, because most of them are born here. But for those who migrated and who use different paths to come into the system, have really struggled, and they haven't really gotten the benefit of their education.
So why has it been difficult for us to sort of carve out a niche for ourselves that we can call our own, an area if we stood out, we could actually shake the system?
Yeah, the thing is it's about immigration. It hasn't been in our favor. Yeah.
No, but immigration, if you look, the Jewish community, the Jews migrated here. The Indians migrated here. In fact, they came in very difficult circumstances in the 70s when about 30,000 were brought not only from Uganda, but also Kenya, and dumped in here. But they've managed to carve their way. They had a strategy. It's taken nearly forever from the sound of one's head, if you think about it. 1972, 73, look until now. This is about 49 years, nearly 50 years it's taken. But you see that finally they've managed. We've come all the way to end up with a prime minister whose mother was in Tanzania and the father was in Kenya, to give you an idea of the kind of journey. They have been strategic, they've been focused, they've lived through that and come to that. Why is it difficult for us? Is it the problem with our IQ, as Haji had suggested?
I think with them, it's not something to do with our IQs. Those guys have been here for a long, long time ago, and the borders were more open by the time when they came in. It was the immigration system was more open, and I think it's more strict today. So they have been here long, and they have been planning because they had ways. You would come here and the following day you'd get jobs. That's what I've heard from people who came long ago. There was no issues with papers. But of recent, the papers were introduced and things became much harder for new immigrants. And when you live in a place for a long time, then you have to make strategies. I'm sure the way things are working for their children is not the same way they worked for those parents who came here first. Most of them worked on farms and they did all the odd jobs, but having stayed here longer, they formulated plans for their generations, and that's why the young ones are now having better lives.
Have we been able, or is it difficult for us to do that, Hajat Sarah? Because I don't see, you know, like Indians or Asians, let me use Asians because it's not just Indians, it's Pakistanis, it's Bengalis later on, and so on. They've been able to sort of have a strategy, they've had a focus and they've worked towards it. So when you raised a very important point, which is we get here and our first focus is concentrating on building back home until sometimes things don't work out, and then with the frustration, we bring back and, you know, lay down the frustration, able to sort of want to go in there.
The thing is, not many of us have always wanted to stay here. Life back home is better if we had money. Most of us come here when we are on the wall, when we are looking for survival. Things have failed back home. If you have money in Uganda, if you got a very good job, if you can self-employ yourself, there is no way you would come and look for work here. Yeah, it's maybe for those people who have done career jobs, who have come in as doctors and stuff, want more money. But most of the people who have come here have been on the wall. This is an opportunity to start a living. So given the weather, the lifestyle, we love our country. You go on holiday, shake and you don't want to come back. You're happy there. Yeah, it's a happy home.
Yes.
It's only poverty that is driving us here.
Right.
So when you come, you're like, maybe I will work for a certain period and
just go back. But
if
you've been here, Hajat Sarah, for 20 years, and Catherine is finally coming. Catherine, I was trying to get you to unmute, and I couldn't get you. We come here with the assumption that I'm just coming for 6 months. Many of us have ended up sending our cargo through Salabed and Mugaru and the Somalis, and the cargo has arrived, but we are not about to go. Something happens along the way to this dream that is supposed to be 6 months, which turns into 20 years, and we are still stuck here. Definitely, there is something that we are not doing right.
We are trying to do everything right, but it's society. There is a way it cripples you. Right. Every time you go home on holiday and you find those people you left home, and they have moved miles and miles away, you find you cannot fit. Yeah. You don't have enough money to live in Uganda. People are doing businesses. You left your colleagues, your former OBs and OGs, they've moved on. They stayed there and they survived, and things have worked out for them. But
thank you very much, Hajat Sarah. Let me bring in Catherine. Catherine, finally, we've got you. You've heard from Hajat Sarah and the frustration. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm good. Yes. Thank you for having me.
Pleasure.
I would like to say that I think the Ugandan community in UK are the most disorganized.
I can't agree more.
I've been watching the Americans, the Ugandans in America. They're a bit more organized than we are. And the other thing is, most of us, I used to work in Barclays Bank. But when I came in, I did not look at that career at all. I just went knocking on any door. There was no focus. And also we have one leg here and one leg in Uganda. Right. You cannot focus when you're half here, half there. But I also like to say that Ugandans, this is my general recognition of what our niche is. Social welfare and being empathic and caring. If we can gather our data of Ugandans in UK, how many of us are here? What services do we operate in? That may be our niche. But when I talk to other communities, I live mostly in the Ghanaian community, and they see us as the most caring community in the African community. So health and social care, there are opportunities there. You can raise up from the ground up to regional manager, to service manager, and earn a lot of money or have an impact on your community. But we need to start somewhere as Ugandans in the UK community. We need to
or even run care homes as well, Catherine, because you would imagine that for the years that we've been here, we'd be having mushrooming agencies of care run by Ugandans, owned and run by Ugandans. That's not
they are there. We have them.
They are not enough. That's what I mean. They would be
not many. That's why we need to look at our data. Who is collecting our data? Who is going to put in that effort to see where our niche is?
Nobody wants to tell.
No.
Data collection becomes difficult.
No, I'm trying to connect with somebody to try and set that up. And maybe I'll invite you one day. But I've been watching the American Ugandans, and they're way, way, way far from our Ugandan in the UK. We have a niche. We need to collect it and get together and find it and, make it for our children and grandchildren. But we do have a niche. The Somalians are into IT. What's wrong with our Ugandans?
Yes. You wonder.
But it can be done. It's never too late.
So, Catherine, in terms of the course, are you in the line of work that you wanted from Barclays Bank into social care?
Yes, I was in Barclays Bank because my parents put me there.
All right.
But I was caring from childhood.
Yes.
I used to be a leader within.
Right. Okay, fantastic. Thank you very much, Catherine. Haji and Isa Makumbi, I know you're there. You've had a chance to speak. Please allow me to bring in Engineer Jovan, and then I'll come to you, time allowing us. I don't in any way underestimate your contributions, but I've seen a new person, Engineer Jovan here. Engineer, good evening and welcome to the program.
Yeah, good evening, sir.
Good to have you. You sound so low. Are you already in bed or on the dining table?
No. I just came from work. Yeah, Shafiq told me to join you.
Right. Well, you are amongst those professions that we thought we used to call the traditional courses, engineers, doctors, and lawyers. Yes, we are talking about career path today. Listening into the conversation, I'm sure you've put your hand up because something is burning. Let's hear it, please.
Yeah, Shafiq told me to put up the hand and talk about the construction part of it, because no one has talking about the construction part of it.
The construction, you said?
Yeah, the construction part, because
yes.
me, I just in UK is it 2020, yeah, 2020, yeah.
2020, you got?
That's when I joined UK.
Right. Your line is a bit difficult. I'm trying to strain to hear you. So apologies.
Yeah,
yes.
Let me move off my earphones. What about now?
Yes, that's much better. It looks like you are either lying down where the voice was just going through the ears instead of coming through the mouth.
No.
Go ahead, please. So you said 2020. You mentioned something about 2020.
Yeah, so basically I came from Uganda 2020, December. Then I came, basically I was studying, it was art and design, graphic design. That was what I was interested in. But before, I had a dream of being an engineer, in Uganda. So I was like, let me do graphic design, design t-shirts and sell them, blah, blah. Then I came here. I joined construction. Someone showed me construction, and it's like, there's a way out how you could do and become an engineer, basically.
Is that civil engineer?
No, I'm a site engineer right now.
Site engineer, okay, right.
Yeah, we do setting out and whatever. Yeah. So when I hear about careers, I think careers is a bit wide, basically. And due to the competition, I had to pull out from my graphic design, because there are a lot of graphic designers in the UK. You find out that the Indians, the Asians are more into it, and they are far better. So to me, I said I would go for construction. Then that's when I joined in, started doing construction step by step till I became an engineer. Yeah. What I think about the youth, I mean, construction has, I don't know how we can call it, but construction has a lot of opportunities. It's wide. And if you look at we Africans, to our background, like men, basically, I mean, construction is what we do. We can do best. It's not like you can, because it is why you can find like someone can do plumbing, someone can do electrical, can find someone is good at dry lining, someone is good at, let me say, supervising. And if we come out, if we're in like, how do you call it? If we collect all these people together, I think we can make something come out. You get what I mean?
Create a force.
Yeah, we create, and yeah. So we can say like.
Now, Catherine is just spoke. I think it was also Sowedi. There's something about Ugandans, and problematically, I'm sorry to say again, Catherine mentions it, Ugandans in the United Kingdom. What is so wrong that we couldn't come together and sort of create that force? We know we've got the potential. You're new here, and it's only 2-3 years here. And yet, you're part of a bigger conversation now. Why has it been difficult for people to be able to get together and create this particular force that, we are all suggesting we might have and we don't have?
Yeah, I think the main thing, the first and foremost, we Ugandans, we have what we call competition. This is among us. I don't know.
So is that competition or jealous? Because
both of them,
it might sound more than the other.
Yes, jealous. From jealous, then comes competition. So
Right.
hereby is like, let me give an example. I don't know whether it's like Mzee Kavuma. Mzee Kavuma mlabi yaguze BMW akola mshoshokea. You find out someone is going to start doing Uber 24/7 because he wants to race with Mzee Kavuma. He doesn't know what Mzee Kavuma does extra. You get what I mean? So the first thing is jealous. We have jealous. Or we, because then we have jealous competition, we are going to crash straight away. And this is what we are having right now. And by the time we realize it, it's a little bit too late.
So your advice to parents with children about to go to uni now, and to young people wanting to patch out their careers, what you advise in a word, so that I can bring in now people? It looks like we are very tight.
So what I advise, I think if someone is like into uni, because uni, you have to look at a lot of stuff. We don't just look at, I want to do law, I want to be a lawyer. Fine and good. It's not bad to be a lawyer, but you have to look wide behind the box. How many lawyers do we have? How many of them have jobs? Fine, you're going to be a solicitor. It will finish uni 5 years, that's another extra 5 years of doing it. That's like 10 years, literally, to become a good solicitor for a specific course at uni. But I mean, if someone is doing a course at uni in part-time and studying part-time, and then doing something handy or course, in the other extra time, it can help him or her to develop something, you know what I mean? So let me say, if someone is studying a course at uni in part-time, which is like studying like 3 days a week, and he works the other 4 days, it's going to be far better from him. You find out that someone who's studying 5 years at uni will come out with a student loan and has to pay it fresh. But someone doing part-time, they all come out with a student loan, but they're not at the same level. Someone has something in the bank account. Has something what to show, like we all finished, but I have a start over. I'm not renting, I'm buying a mortgage. You get it? So I think someone has to look for a specific trade that has less
Okay, thank you very much, Engineer Jovan. Your first time on air on the program, and actually brilliant idea there. Thank you very much. Isa Makumbi, Haji, and I think there was hand from Soweto. We'll try to fit you in the 3 minutes that is left to get to 10 o'clock. Isa Makumbi first, please go ahead. I think
what we are lacking is what they call networking.
Yes.
For us, the same bird keep together. We have the same qualification. We don't go out. We're outside of our influence to seek any information or any knowledge. What you're gonna lack is nosing around. For me, if I know that Kayira is doing good at this, if I want to get knowledge from him, I'll be around him, hovering every corner to know how that business is done. For us, we don't want to. If anybody nosing around, say, that's the thing which is keeping us around. If you want to get into this community, you have to know how to network. If you want to become a doctor, see where the doctors are. Become friends, befriend them, they'll tell you what they want. If you're going to construction, keep in touch with us. For us, much of the business done in this place, fun enough in the bars. I don't drink, but if I want anything, if I know that somebody is in that bar, I'll go there to get what I want. I've been in local authority. I've been known from top to bottom. I've been to Chief Executive's office. The thing is, if you see anything that is hindering you, challenge it, and then you bring it. They will listen. But for us, we fear to challenge. And the last thing is what I want people who have been saying that we've been here for so long, blah blah blah. Confidence is the key to success. If you want to do anything, be confident. Don't allow anybody to knock you down.
Fantastic. Fantastic. And Isa Makumbi, I think that's a very, very good highlight to, well, maybe to take away. If there is anything that we are taking away from this conversation tonight, parents, have conversation with your children about the particular courses they want to do. Have the confidence. nose around, find out as much information as is possible as a way of, taking your way forward. So wait, as I bring you in, I'll just read a few quick messages. Boss Lady here is saying, not in America, we've done better. We have nurses, doctors, IT, and no people are opening businesses. Now people are opening businesses, tracking companies and so on. That's quite a step. I think that's one that we should pick and leave from. So Eddie here, you're already saying you have Asians in my local community. They drive taxis, but they have used the income from the taxi job to build their second generations up. Yes, definitely, that's without a doubt. Ida says perhaps, that was regarding the niche, finding the areas that we do and can excel in. Ida was saying here, let me just get that right. Yes. Ida was saying perhaps we don't need the niche. There is so much beauty and need in having diverse professions, skill sets, etc. Communities need the contributions of everyone. Yes, fantastic, but you see that other communities have done it. How about the Asians, taking over the pharmaceutical or the pharmacy market or the pharmacology, doing courses on pharmacology, and then even medicine, where they've gone in and they've actually done a lot of good in there. Either that might just bring that to question, because once we get into an area and we excel in it, we are likely to actually perform better. Open a taxi cab company, that's Boss Lady. Yes, we could. Why not? Dawn Chimba. Oh, Olibwanji, I think that's Chimba. Parents can also, Chimba should be Zambian, I think. Welcome to the program. That's the first time I'm seeing you on here. Parents can also help their children from 16 to get holiday internships or work shadowing. In the UK, a lot of the middle-class parents will do this. So the children start to create a network. They get work experience, network, or at the GP's surgery. Actually, this is very, very important. I think I was with the lady who had just taken her daughter to the golf course. Here in UK, the racing in Newcastle is a big, big thing. It's a big, big thing. The races here in Newcastle, they managed just to get their daughter there, just working there, and the experience is just unbelievable. They are meeting the people that do matter. So in the end, we have a lot of graduates who are told during the job search, we need someone with experience, and yet the experience has been built by people making, networks. Boss Lady was coming in to say a mechanical garage. Good points. I get Sarah Spot. So spot on. Chance size, double lifestyle isn't best strategy to add value to our next generation. I don't know what that double lifestyle, whether it's the being half in Uganda and half here, or 130,000 people plus Indians. We are 260,000. Subhanallah. Ida says that's a really good point, Catherine. Maybe we need to undertake some research into where the community is, including the skill sets, aspirations, etc. So Eddie was saying, Catherine, please don't bash us. And how have you watched the Americans? The experience might be different if you are living amongst them. Well, the Americans are on here as part of the conversation with UMC Youth. I can tell you that. You've seen from Boss Lady sort of giving an insight into that. Well, so Eddie, I'll just bring you in. Why do people think we are not doing well? Well, we are not doing well. As a community, probably we should have stood out. We have doctors, we have whatever, but they are all silent. People spread out. Probably we should be having a much, much, stronger presence where we can speak with a voice. Nigerians are more in number. Yes, they are always. But you see where they've gone, the confidence that Issa Makubi speaks about, shines out. They'll go in confidently and they'll be able to get whatever they want. So where do you have the last word? Unless I get someone who hasn't spoken, like Anissa. Anissa hasn't spoken at all. So is Shadia and Hajara. If you have a word, I'll allow you to have a say as we conclude the program. Yes, so Eddie, way forward. How do we go from here? Where do we go from here?
Secretary, how about you being our main contact? Yeah. How about you taking audit or stock of all the professionals we have of Ugandan descent? Yeah, and they're willing to identify themselves as Ugandans, and they're in those because to start with, by the way, I do know the CEO, the deputy CEO of Lambeth, the Wandsworth or Lambeth, is a Ugandan guy of the local authority. And you know, being a CEO of a local authority here, it's a big deal. That's the truth. Because
but so wait, the point we are raising here is they can be there, but they are almost there in their lonely capacity.
This
if
is what
if it was something that we can work upon, we could. That person gets there and drugs in Uganda.
That's what I'm saying. We start by you making contact with all these people, tell them that this is the concern of all the Ugandans. I have talks with them. They are crying out there saying, you're up there on your own. How do we bring our people in? You get it. I signpost you to people, get you these contacts of these top doctors, surgeons in the hospital. We have Ugandans, they're scattered all over. So we come together, we tell them, like, look, please, are you happy to be one big family with us? How we're worried that the Asians have made it, and people are saying, you know, as Ugandans, we like doing things in isolation. We do, you know, it's the truth of the matter is we Ugandans, we still have those things. Still have those little things, yeah. Until we iron out those things. When you are in a foreign land, the first thing you have to do is to forget about your tribe back home. One identity is Ugandan, yeah. Because me, I've seen it in a job. When you're two black people, even if the other one is Nigerian, you always call yourself, you call each other in the corridor, oh, my brother, because you know that there's something that, you know,
that binds you more than anything else.
So
no, I think this is a message here that, well, I think it is either Osama or Zaid who has flagged this, and I could just read it quickly. It says, why do people think Americans are doing better? For sure, you have no idea of how Ugandans are doing here. We have millionaires here in KK. People have businesses. We have CEOs. We have everyone in every field. We have lieutenants in the army. We are doing so well. And I think that it's about time that we brought out that wellness. I think that would, you know, it says, no, we have politicians here.
Yes. Let's get out of their cave. We know them. They identify themselves as Ugandans. Let's share that thing. If it's there, then it's when we can know. Manchester United, it's up to them.
Right, fantastic. Thank you very much, Soed. I think I wanted to bring in someone. Yes, sir. It's Zaid. You have all the millionaires that you suggest.
Okay, my approach,
yes,
and my way of thinking is that I think good from everyone. Now, someone saying that we are not doing well, we are jealous, we are this and that, doesn't work for me.
But you hear Hajat Sarah, Zaid, you hear Hajat Sarah saying, you know, what you hear on a daily basis is the saying, but na Uganda bantama. That is a turn-off in a lot of ways. What we're trying to achieve.
Exactly, that is the problem. Maybe what the Americans have that we don't have is I think UWAMA, United. It's not the Muslim. It connects all Americans. Uganda. We don't have it here. Maybe we have it, but it doesn't work. Yeah, that is what we need. You can initiate that, KK. We can do that. We have the numbers. Me and you have the numbers. We can start such an organization. But saying that Ugandans are not doing well, KK, I know Ugandans, man. We have millionaires, man. People are doing so well, KK.
No, Zaid, I don't think actually was trying to suggest that Ugandans are not doing well. We were suggesting that Ugandans are doing well individually. And yet here we look at an Asian community and you see the way they've moved as a whole. One Indian buys or one Asian buys into a clothes like ours here. The next 5-7 years, 5 or 7 of the houses have just gone to them.
Stop right there. Stop right there.
Yes, you have Ugandans who have done that.
KK, that is the Asian mind. Even in Uganda, you're not going to find it. Even in Uganda, that's what Asians do. We Ugandans in Uganda, we don't do that. It's not our mind. That is not our mind. Unless we start copying Asians in Uganda, both in Uganda and in the diaspora. Check what Indians are doing in Uganda. Check what Somalians are doing in Uganda. They are better than us. Yes. Exactly. Somalians are rich because they work together.
Do you see boss lady saying here, Ugandans always want to prove that they did something themselves. So as a result, you end up breaking your back in the process. You acknowledge that. You acknowledge that.
But and KK, the other thing, there is a big difference between the United Kingdom and the USA. In USA, you have to work so hard. The system makes you do
2 jobs, 3 jobs. Yes.
However, in the United Kingdom, and I love it. We love it. Yeah, our queen, now our king, fine, and we love it. That's
please.
You understand? Yes. But let to develop ourselves.
Fantastic.
Yes. We have to form this organization.
No, we need to, and I think actually that's the takeaway tonight. We came in with a career path, but then you see where we've ended up. It is very interesting when conversations, sort of
and KK,
give us ideas of where we can go.
And KK, the other thing is, I have a degree. You have a degree from Uganda. We have masters. Yeah. The other thing is, what other people are doing. I've heard you and other people saying, someone driving a taxi, and yes, I'm driving an Uber and I'm getting £5,000 a month. Who gets that? Someone gets 6,000. People are driving Uber and they are getting £6,000 a month. The list.
No, Zaid, it wasn't about Kunyoma. It was saying those are the areas that we have excelled in, and yet we haven't found a way of making the best out of it. How many Ugandans, for example, now own a taxi company, a local taxi company, which is easy to actually, sort of set up?
Katikeke, it's my task, you and me, to tandicate this organization, to tandicate sensitizing our own to do these things. We should promise people here. We should promise people here that we are going to
we are 12 minutes in. I'll bring in Ziada, who we now from Zaidi to Ziada, who we started the conversation with and who has been providing a bit of guidance in terms of this. Ziada, first of all, hearing into the conversation to which you've sat through the entire 2 hours, what has come out for you? What is your takeaway, considering the fact that you've done a bit of work in an area of trying to guide, people and their families towards career guidance?
Yeah.
Listening to what has been said tonight.
Assalamu alaikum
wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Yeah, thank you very much. And everyone, Abate says everything you have said, every word has been educative and fantastic. However, the main points I have picked up is, first of all, we as parents need to be, we need to create a relationship with our children, work with them at every step. The business of saying abasomesa babayamba, omwana taking a different route nga tomanyi oba na choosing courses enkyamu oba natafuna good guidance. So parents have got to get involved as well, much as the teachers are there. They need to be involved and then help out these children get to the right path. And also parents fenyini ekikulu nze kyendaba in our community fena, we lack confidence, as one of the person said. Twenyoma oli nalaba nga yaveeri oba nsonyi oba something like that. We don't open up enough no ku approaching fenyini nogenda notomera office and things like that. Omuntu abeera yeetya. So we need to stand on our feet as parents. Nogamba nasomako oba ne bwe mba saasoma, okusoma tekuswaza, ne bw'oba mukulu osoma, nogamba nfunye opportunity. This country education, you can get all chances, ne bakuweerera and so on. You start cracking on. then nofuna kikyoyagala. And also obute making a use of the people in the community who can help you. Tuyina ekintu kino ekyokubeera nti oli agiise jealous oba gye bayita ensaalwa. So I think that comes from a situation whereby tetukkiriza, naye once you accept yourself within you, n'omanya nti ndi kino kyendi, however nina okumuvinga ne ngenda ku ddaala eriddako, then we'll get what we want. Bwe mba nsanze Sheikh Kayira nga nsinga whatever he can do, oba mawulire oba ddiini, mbeera open ne mugamba seeka wangi njagala okuyiga kino na kino na kino, how can I go about it? So other than being there netwogera yasoma yewana biki things like that, I think we should make use of each other, and in that way kijja tuyamba ffe ffennyini okubeera nga twegatta. Bw'obeera ng'olabye omuntu n'omanya opportunity mu community, n'omanya nti bano basobola okukola bwe bati, I mean bajja kuyamba abaana, naawe mwennyini bajja kupushinga, other than okubeera nga we kind of like taking it personal ne tutandika bigambo. I think ekyo kijja tuyamba nnyo okubeera nga building what we want, because if we want to become one like the Asians, like everything, ojja otuuka mu office n'osanga omuddugavu oba mu somewhere waali n'atakufaako, naye ate nga Munnayuganda oba oli n'awulira Oluganda ng'oyogera Oluganda oba ku ssimu oba kinaabula neyeekweka, naye bw'osanga omu Asian ajja abeera nga muganda we. So if we can also pick that, netumanya nti oba olabye omuddugavu ate bw'omuwulira ng'ayogera Oluganda yongera omusembeza, omanye nti ono brother wange oba sister wange, omuyambe ky'aba ayagala. I think ekyo kijja tuyamba nnyo to move forward.
Sister Ziada, waliwo abakugamba nti the experiences we've had osembeza Munnayuganda enkya nayagala akutuge butuzi akusuule out of a job gyewamuleeseemu yennyini. We did a program here which was very, very interesting. People sharing their experiences of the nastiness of the people they had brought in and ne babeefuulira. But we have to start somewhere.
Yeah, we have to start somewhere. Ekyo kikulu nnyo, ate n'ekirala that happens a lot because nange nkirabye nnyo. Naye I think it's being open. Omuntu n'omubuulira nze I say something the way it is. Munno bw'oba omuleese ku mulimu oba bw'oba olabye opportunity awali omuntu n'omugamba nkufunidde omulimu biri bwe biti ne bwe biti. I understand this and this might happen, but this is going to be the repercussions. Nze bwe ndowooza. It is tulina okwekkiriza ekyo kye ngamba nti ffe ffennyini gw'oleese nakkiriza situation ye n'amanya nti azze kulinnya ddaala, naawe mwennyini gwasanzeewo n'akurespectinga n'amanya nti osobola omuguidinga in different situations. So that comes to the point of ffe okukkiriza ki kye tuli, ate n'otagenda mu office kulwanyisa munno gw'osanzeewo nga tomanyi nga ne bwe yatuukawo. Wabula naye bw'okkiriza n'ogamba nti nze anfuniddewo bwa adimini oba bwa kiriina, nange nina okulwana ntuuke ku ddaala eri awaggulu, then that will solve everything.
Inshallah. Thank you very much, Ziada. That's a very good point, I think, to end tonight's conversation. I can only thank you so much for making the time. These are the kinds of conversations that we have here, with takeaways, with ways to see how we can actually implement some of these things. We need to try and come up with a database, find out these millionaires that Zaid is talking about, the councillors, the politicians, try and network with these people. They should be part of these conversations when we are doing programs like this. They should actually be on the programs to bring us up to date with what we don't know what is going on there. Osanga busanzi muntu wano n'omubuuza ntwala ntya container e Uganda nga wano n'amala weeks bbiri ng'akyakubuzaabuza akyagaanye n'okumiitinga obumiitizi mu byogereko, and that person will not guide you to the right path, as you can imagine. So definitely, I think we have a few challenges. We have a couple of challenges, but we have to start somewhere, and it starts with you. It starts from your heart. Clean your heart. Leave somebody else to clean their own heart. If everybody cleaned their own hearts, I think we'd be in a very good place. 19 minutes past 10 o'clock, a very good point at which to say good night. And thank you very much to the people in the technical department there, Isma, Zaid, Hasfa, all, and you participants who have been very brilliant with the conversations tonight. Thank you very much for all your submissions. We thank you very much and hope to see you next week, inshallah, with another very interesting program. I'm thinking about doing something about sibling rivalry. Tell me if you think it's right. If not, then we can find something else. But sibling rivalry, muri waka mwenda mwavayo musobondo okujja Bulaya barabagenze mu America, and then some of you are doing better at home, helping out at home better than others, and then it becomes a competition that would actually turn one against the other. Is that something we can have a conversation about? If not, remember, you can always suggest some topics to us. Just come to the program, just send me a message, and then there's no topic that is out of boundaries. We can discuss anything as long as we do it decently, and that's the difference with the program. The program is Come Let's Talk with me, Kassim Kayira. We have been live on 75W Radio, live on Ummah Connected, on YouTube, on Facebook, and on Zoom. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hope to see you next week, same time.